Well, so we have to do the newspaper. Mama, good morning to you. I love your yellow.
Well, good morning, Roland. I just wanted something to lift my spirit up.
Yeah. I think this yellow will do the trick.
And I pray it translates into my mood. I really don't know. Like, I don't know, like, Charlie, I don't know where I did. Like, you know, I'm not sure, man. I don't know.
Okay,
I really don't
and talking
know.
about yellow, you know the MTN CEO of Ghana. Yeah, he's been awarded within the MTN group as a top joint best CEO for the period, and we have to say that congratulations to him. Your yellow just
and it's my yellow that reminded you of that.
I swear.
I hear you. Well, good morning to all of you. Wake up if you are not up. It's a working day. There's no lockdown. It's been lifted.
Yeah.
It was lifted when you were sleeping, perhaps. Yeah. No excuses.
I tell you.
Wake up and go to work today.
Yeah, Salif will come back to wake up and go to work. Oh, well, you already go to work. You're a health worker, so.
Oh, my God. Well, welcome to a fresh week, a fresh day. I guess the period for all of us to reflect. You know, you're on your own pretty much. Protect me, I protect you. That's the way we're going now. Yeah. Let's do the newspapers, Roland.
Yeah, definitely. So I want you to start. Which papers do you have?
I'll do the Daily Graphic and the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Those are the two papers that I selected for myself.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, partial lockdown lifted. Borders still closed, social distancing gathering directives remain. Comes with a picture of the president. This was as he addressed the nation yesterday. Ghana Health Service to tackle meningitis scourge is also another front page headline there. Time to design new global financial architecture, according to the finance minister. Bank of Ghana, others donate to COVID-19 fund. Headlines on the front page of the graphic. In the center spread, well, pretty much details of those stories in the center spread. What's on the front page in the center spread? Except for this, universities employ online academic lessons, and the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to handle 20% container traffic at the Tema port. On the back page, private sector fund constructs isolation treatment facility. I think the first time I got it wrong. This was supposed to be ready initially when the information came in 4 weeks, but it's in 6 weeks. That's what is fact now. Vivo Energy donates PPE to National COVID-19 team. And that's what you have on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's do the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Front page, Ekufuado lifts lockdown but keeps other enhanced measures in place. Bank of Ghana Petroleum Commission, others donate 12.6 million cedis to COVID-19 trust fund. Police arrest 6 notorious land guards at Pantine for shooting butchering landowners. Chamber of Bullion Traders supports 37 hospital in COVID-19 fights. All right, so I have the Ghanaian Times, courtesy Roland. So let's continue with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page on coronavirus. Ghana lifts partial lockdown as government eases COVID-19 combat restrictions. Freight forwarders decry delays in clearing goods at Takrady ports. Meningitis cases cross 409. 40 die in 5 regions. NLA offers safest platform for mobile games. 2 soldiers snatch Times man's camera in Kumasi. And on the back page of the Times, the Bogatanga, Napdom, Bongo and Tongo together, they are called Bonaboto. It's a union, civil society organization. They presented Veronica buckets, alcoholic hand-based sanitizers, boxes of hand wash and soap, and gloves to the Upper East Regional Directorate of the Ghana Health Service. That's what the story is about. Zoom Lion disinfects anchor for prisons and the UDS. Also another story on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. So by way of what's on the front and back page, there you have it in the Ghanaian Times, Roland.
Now let's go straight away to the front page of the New Publisher newspaper. It has the main story of Safumafo crashes paperless port, sends Ghana back to manual clearance under Unipass, field day for corrupt customs officers. The story's caption has an attached picture of the senior minister Yanwa Sanfumafo and Nick Danso. Up there we have motor rider shot at in Sawam over security barrier. Meanwhile, on the side, there's a story about an ex-convict tied to a pole for stealing 11 fowls during the period of the lockdown. Down there, court orders COVID-19 test for boozing gang.
You said booze.
Booze. Booze. And a story is quite interesting. Talks about how an Accra Secretary ordered 8 out of 9 persons who went partying disregarding the presidential directive for a lockdown to undergo medical examination.
They should pay for it themselves. I hope the judge added that.
Based
you can't
on
be reckless and expect
protocols,
us to be responsible for your recklessness.
I tell you. And it says, well, the result of the order, the court presided over by the judge, said should be brought to the court by Wednesday, tomorrow next, April 22. So it's quite an interesting story.
You know, was it last week that we're talking about the courts, and I was saying that in some parts of the U.S., court proceedings are ongoing. So some of them are using Zoom, for instance, to hear cases and to decide on cases. There was a judge who put out an order because apparently people appear sometimes shirtless, some lawyers shirtless because they're working from home. Sometimes somebody's like tagged in their bed and they're appearing in court via Zoom. So the court says,
you have to be properly attired.
Exactly. This is work.
obey the court rules. But you know, sitting in public is not something that is new to the U.S. Judicial system in the first place. Even within the period of the open courts, they did that. You could have live feed from a certain court in a certain state. Yeah. And any member of the public could access that portal and just watch or listen in. So it's good that they're using these sort of technologies. I don't know why it takes a lot of time for us to get to see civilization. In this I
don't agree with what you've just said.
Right.
I think it's because if you look at their Supreme Court, for instance, they have really, really old people sitting on that bench right there. So, and this is not a period to let old people in particular come out. You get what I mean? Because potentially every old person has an underlying illness, and it's not good in the COVID-19 era.
Okay, I guess what I was trying to say is that we've been slow in trying to incorporate technology or modern
Yeah, but you can say exactly what you've just said, but not what you said before.
Okay, what did I say before? I forgot.
I'm not reminding you. You know it.
The business.
Just apologize and move on.
I apologize.
Great.
The Business and Financial Times has on the front page, COVID-19 stigmatization must stop. You get to the back page and you'll find the story there, and you know, relates to an incident that a neighbor called me about, and I said, look, relax. These are the steps and the protocols and the procedures that usually the assessment team will go through when they are investigating a particular case, and we'll see how. Also on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, Takra report goes back to manual process as angry importers call for Unipass processes, and it's the technology being rolled out as the integrated customs management system to be halted. Down there, it's Zoom Lion donating $20,000 US. That's 1.2 million Ghana cedis to the Noguchi Research Institute of the University of Ghana to help fight COVID-19, and that's a good job done so far. And then up there, we also have Omni Besik Bank confirming 130 million Ghana city capital injection from the Ghana Amalgamated Trust. Okay, but let's go to the last paper I have. It is the Economic Times, has on the front page, Bank of Ghana receives $1 billion US from the IMF, and it's about that fund from the International Monetary Fund under the Rapid Credit Facility, and it's just in response in cushioning member countries to fight COVID. And then we also do have experts remaining focused to see pump prices dropping amidst doubt. For those of you who use oil, I'm talking about gasoline or diesel or petrol, etc. Those who patronize it at the pumps, you get to see that when you're filling your tank, it's less these days. That's a good thing. Well, the advocacy is that it needed to, you know, be reduced further, but your guess is as good as mine. But moving on, we need CAP implementation strategy now, financial expert. And this financial expert is saying that the coronavirus alleviation program implementation strategy needs to be transparent and accountable to the citizenry or the Ghanaian. It's one thing that many have raised, especially on social media, as to accountability related issues, even though the COVID team with the various press conferences that have been outlined over the period have given those assurances that there's all sort of transparency as far as that is concerned. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, we do have government withdrawing new levy on LPG. This announcement was also made by the Minister for Energy, John Peter Ambewu, at the last press conference.
But you know, at the time he did that, it had not been lifted.
Yes, definitely.
And COPEC in particular had threatened to go to court.
It
looks like now that's been effected.
On his tail. Yeah, that's good.
Well.
Fire is good. But let's do the dispatch before you get... the dispatch, we have the dispatch. And on your screens now, it highlights Akufo-Addo lifts lockdown over Accra, Kumasi and Kaswa, but warns of curfew in areas where high positive cases are. I really didn't know what the president meant by that, but, you know.
Which one is that?
That there will be curfew in areas where there are high positive. And he made mention of the ayahuasca and all the relevant.
So I guess going forward, you know, we want to understand a bit of the science, the reason behind the decision. So that's one of the things that we will talk about extensively today here on our show, to understand the reason we're here, because for the ordinary person the figures have gone up from 800 and something to 1,000 and something. So why have we taken this decision? So we'll go behind the science as well.
And also on the front page of the dispatch, Germany blames China for COVID-19 and sends China a bill of some 130 million. Billion, okay, 30 billion pounds for damages. Saw the story somewhere yesterday, so it's in the Guardian. So I saw it yesterday. I was wondering, but it's not only Germany. Indeed, the rest of the Western world and especially America have been on the heels of China, blaming it for the number of cases we've seen around the world. Very instructive about how the world has suffered because of coronavirus. Mama V.
Yes, I'm also looking at meningitis. I thought we would give you an update in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It says at least 409 cases of meningitis have been recorded in 5 regions in the northern sector of the country, with 40 deaths according to the Ghana Health Service. It said the death count in the affected regions comprising northern, northeast, Savannah, Upper East and Upper West as of Wednesday, April 15, represented a 15% fatality rate. A statement issued by the Ghana Health Service Director General Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje has therefore advised residents in those areas to report early for treatment, since investigations had shown that the high fatality was due to late reporting of cases. So that's the update on the meningitis in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. 409, 5 regions, 40 have sadly died. Roland, is there any other story you want to highlight more before we do myjawline.com?
Yeah, it's this donation by Zoom Lion Ghana. We know that they've been doing a lot of work disinfecting the every place around Ghana, and then just before the close of the last week started expansive with the Ghana Education Service, the disinfection of various senior high schools. Back in my day, we called them secondary schools across Ghana. And I think that was a good thing. And this donation of some 1.2 million Ghana cedis, especially to an institution like Noguchi, that's the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, I thought was very laudable, because amid all the relevant things they were doing, science and research is very important in all that we're doing. Look, yesterday the president made mention of the good things in terms of separating the genomes as far as this virus and the way it's spreading, the type that we have, for that institution that is working with Noguchi to be able to trace it to the original virus that first was detected in Wuhan. And ultimately, I believe that that's a good thing. We need more organizations to be able to assist and help. I think that instead of going central, organizations need to determine communities, other vulnerable groups, and then do the donations.
So more like specific targeting.
Yeah. The centralized thing, for me, it's a big worry for me.
Yeah, I always use this as an example. I think instead of just donating what you think people will need, it would be good to also ask them. So if you're donating to 37, for instance, ask 37 what they need, so you can give them exactly what would be useful to them. So with that said, let's do myjoyonline.com. But we also have to acknowledge these are difficult times. So for a company like Zoomlion, this is a big deal with what they're doing as well. Let's do myjoyonline.com. Here we go. Lockdown lifted, but ban on social gatherings remain. And I hope that the over almost 30 million Ghanaians will be responsible and know that we're not just supposed to go out there like everything is normal. We're also supposed to be regarding the social distancing rules and the other directives as well. President is making us responsible for our own lives and selves, and we hope that we'll be after it. God help us. All right. FDA orders recall of Coa FS from market at a time when a lot of people, were running to Coa FS because of the fact that they had heard it would boost your immune system. Then the FDA issues a statement. The thing about the FDA statement, if you've taken a critical look at it, is not even giving you batch numbers. So it's recalling all the products.
All the products. A certain,
no, it is the company that issued a statement with certain batch numbers. But the FDA statement is recalling all. So this is something that we also have to look at. FDA doesn't just wake up to take this action, but there are plenty of questions to ask. Is it those that people have consumed last year, 2 years ago? Is that all part of what they're recalling? So this is a point where we are. Very critical point also in the life of the business. We just do pray and hope that they're able to fix this, but this is not good.
Because many people depend on this, and if you look at what the testimonies have been from even those who are treating these people as medical professionals, they attest to how efficacious it is.
Yeah, but when the Food and Drugs Authority says that upon further checks, the product has been found to contain E. coli, which is a type of bacteria that normally lives in the intestines, has got complications. It has effect, long-term effects as well. So if you want to, listen to the president's, you missed it last night because you were sleeping or you were just not concentrating, you can do a playback on my Joy Online. Calling off lockdown doesn't mean we're out of the pandemic. Public sector salaries will be paid in full, according to the information minister. Ghana's COVID-19 caseload crosses 1,000. Akufo-Addo urges all Ghanaians to wear face masks to avert COVID-19 infection. GII demands probe into allegations against ex-tour boss Bekon. Allegation of partisan distribution of government food sounds odd, according to the information minister, was on the lockdown with MFA Apau yesterday. Let's do the BBC. And, this story about everybody wearing the mask also popped up in Kenya because the U.S. ambassador there decided to tweet about the fact that a lot of people are not respecting that particular rule. And people said, wait a minute, has the U.S. donated anything to the poor in Kenya that you're expecting us to wear masks? So that tweet is also one of the things trending. It's captured on the BBC. Let's go through the stories on the BBC. Roland, you can take it over.
Yeah, we'll give you a wider perspective as to how the cases are trending, where they are heading towards, not only for Ghana, but the sub-region, Africa, and also the rest of the continent of the world. But in the meantime, we have to look at, after lifting that lockdown, how is Accra looking like in terms of the traffic situation? We'll get you up to speed with the latest, and you have to go to traffic.com.gh and get all the latest. We're just boosting that, you know.